What's going on in the internet today? What the fuck is up, y'all? So, I was fucking around online, and I found this post on Reddit, and I wanted to answer it, but there's a lot of stuff in it that I felt talking would be easier than actually trying to type all of it out. So we're gonna read it and you know, break it down piece by piece. So let's get into it. The post is called "I'm not a juggalo, but I'm curious about something." Juggalo spelled wrong, 1 G, 2 L's. We'll let it fly, whatever. Hi y'all, in case you're not aware, progressive Twitter just fucking blew up last night when they found that ICP was having a march on Washington at the same time as the Nazis and the KKK, and that y'all are solidly against fascists. So I'm wondering, is how y'all feel about suddenly going from being the butt of jokes to suddenly being considered as an actual culture and political movement. Also, I'm curious if there's any sort of general publical identity that juggalos would tend to agree on. And just generally, what are your thoughts, or generally, what are your thoughts as a juggalo on the current political climate? Or you can tell me to go fuck myself if you want. Totally a valid response. And then he says, this is a tweet that started to get the ball rolling on Twitter, and then a link to the tweet, which we will get to. So, let's go ahead and just jump right into this shit. Hi, y'all. What up, though? In case you're not aware, progressive Twitter just fucking blew up last night when they found out ICP was having a march on Washington at the same time as Nazis and the KKK, and that y'all are solidly against fascists. Man, this dude's got to be from the South. I ain't never seen no many y'alls. Y'all. I mean, I'm from Nebraska, and we don't... I don't hear that fucking word a lot. Reading it is kind of a different thing. But anyways... for Twitter blowing up over it, especially the progressive side, it's cool. It's cool to see that people are noticing. For me personally, it's kind of fucked. Only because, instead of looking at why we're marching and understanding that, you know, this is the reason why we're marching, and people are making it about, you know, fucking Nazis and the Klansmen and, you know, the fucking right, alt-right, whatever fucking, you know, cog machine you want to talk about, which I consider both sides. So, but we'll get to that. I personally, I don't really care. If people are talking about it, that's awesome. If people were talking about it in the context that I believe they should be talking about it, that would be fucking super awesome. But they're not. Everybody is, you know, tweeting, oh man, I'm so excited, juggalos versus fucking Nazis. Like, that's not what we're there for. I'm not fucking with them. They're not the ones that are, you know, fucking labeling us a gang, that are, you know, fucking over people just for being music fans. And, so, you know, the fact that people are thinking, oh, well, you know, the juggalos are going to be there, so, you know, they're going to... No. Like, I'm pretty sure a good chunk of the people that I've talked to that are planning on going are planning avoiding that situation all to fucking together. You know, they're not going to know, you know, media-wise or whatever, any of that. They're not going to play fair, honestly. You know, either way, we would get lumped into either one of the sides, and all it would do for us would validate, you know, the fact that we are a fucking gang, and that we're, you know, we're considered a loosely organized hybrid gang. You know, and they consider it violent. And so I think that a good majority of us will avoid that situation with all costs, because we'll be the fucking fall guys. straight the fuck up. Nobody likes us. 90% of the people that are posting about it all excited on Twitter aren't going to give a fuck when a bunch of us get arrested for getting into some bullshit that we don't give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck about Trump. I don't care about Nazis or fucking Klansmen. Do we hate them? Yeah, fuck them. Straight up. You know, anybody that's racist, fuck them. You know, white supremacy, all that bullshit, that shit can fuck the fuck off, as far as I'm concerned. But, at the same time, you know, it's as if Twitter is trying to, not Twitter themselves, but the tweets are trying to act as if we're only going there to fuck with them. And that's not the case. We have a reason for being there, and people are ignoring that reason, and you'll see that I'm gonna get worked up through this thing, and I'm not even gonna fucking front, because for a lot of us, this march is very important. We have taken the shit that has come, you know, down the fucking lines on the internet and in the real world. We've taken all of that shit straight on our fucking heads. You know, I couldn't tell you any time where there was a majority of people that were fucking with the Juggalos and, you know, weren't there to fucking talk about magnets or whatever fucking bullshit, you know, that they can find to fucking make fun of us for. The fact that suddenly we're your allies, fuck that. I ain't nobody's fucking ally. I'm a motherfucking homie's ally. That's it, you know. I'm trying to go to the march. I want to be at the march, you know. I went to the gathering, and the march is to me, an important event. You've never seen Juggalos stand up for anything. You know, we've taken all that shit, and, you know, we're all just, hi, haha, fuck you, whatever, hate us, you know. And, you know, that's been the, you know, that's the Juggalo mentality, you know. Like, we're used to getting shit on. We come from the fucking shit anyways, so it's not like it's anything new, you know. But to be called allies with some people just because you know, some fucking bigots are marching, we're not allies. In my eyes, we're not allies. You know, unless you're coming to fucking our march, because our march starts an hour after theirs supposedly starts, so, you know, are we going to be fucking with their march or worrying about what our fucking march is doing? But, yeah, just for me personally, if they're not on the talking point that Juggalos are marching for Juggalos being labeled a gang, I ain't fucking interested in it. So what I'm wondering is how you feel about suddenly going from the butt of jokes to suddenly be considering an actual culture and political movement. First off, fuck you. We've been a culture. Juggalos have been around for fucking 20 plus years. Like, to say, oh, you're just now becoming... No, fuck you. We've been around. Been around. You know? To say, oh, because we didn't take you seriously because you didn't fucking... You know, you weren't marching or, you know, fucking protesting skinheads. You're not a real fucking, you know, culture, subculture, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Fuck that. Fuck that. We've been here. We've been here. We've fucking seen everything. We've watched you motherfuckers go back and forth over bullshit. And, you know, we said, fuck you guys. We're not even fucking worrying about that shit. You know, I'm sorry to the person that made this post. If you get offended by this, I apologize. I'm not trying to offend you. Like I said, I feel very strongly about the subject of, you know, Juggalos in general. So don't take offense, but I'm giving it to you real. And as for the political movement, we're not a political movement. We have no want to be a political movement. This will jump in. I'll lump this together here in a second. No, I'll just read it. Also, I'm curious, is there any sort of general political identity that Juggalos would tend to agree on? No. I know Trump supporters that are Juggalos. I know fucking Bernie supporters that are Juggalos. I know Hillary supporters that are Juggalos. You know, libertarians, Green Party, just all of them. All of them. Like, people don't understand that Juggalos, they tied us all together. You know, we became the trailer park meth head fucking bullshit. I mean, look at me. Do I look like I'm fucking pounding away on some meth? You know? Maybe a McDouble. That's the closest I'm getting to fucking meth, you know? But to, people don't understand that Juggalo's about being yourself. It's about accepting people for being themselves. And this might be a negative on our part, but there are racist Juggalos. There are Juggalos with swastika tattoos. There are Juggalos with Confederate flag tattoos. Those Juggalos exist. Most Juggalos you ask would say those are some fake motherfuckers, because ICP has always been anti-racism, anti-domestic abuse, anti-child abuse, all that shit. For forever. Been about that shit. And, the stereotype of Juggalos have to be broken if people even want to get close to trying to imagine what the fuck is going on with our little clique. You know, I say little, but there's probably a lot of us. I don't know specific numbers or nothing like that, but I can guarantee you that there's quite a few. But Juggalos, we don't have, you know, a lot of Juggalos are like non-political. As you can tell, me doing this video, I've done YouTube videos for a long time. Back in the past, I tried to do videos, you know, of Juggalos talking about politics and stuff like that, and that shit just didn't fly. Juggalos don't care about that stuff. You know, you'll find a few here and there, you know, spread out. Especially more so in the older crowd where, you know, it's kind of like our duty to be paying attention to the shit. But even then, a huge chunk of Juggalos, they do not care about anything political or anything of that nature. And just generally, what are your thoughts, what your thoughts are as a Juggalo on the current political climate? Well, me personally, I would say that I lean a little more left, but it's so hard for me to say that because there's a lot of ideas that the right have that, for me, I agree with. You know, I'm not anti-gun ban, or I'm not anti-gun bans. I'm not for any gun bans. I don't believe in none of that fucking shit. You know, we don't even need to get deep into that, but I live in a state where there are more registered firearms than there are registered voters. You know, so that to me is a big deal. But socially wise, you know, if you want to get into like the social justice warrior kind of shit, I'm for it, a lot of their ideas. The going crazy with the spectrum of genders to me is like, you know, whatever do you. But, you know, gay marriage, you know, equal rights for everybody, all that shit, totally fucking for it. I don't condone any sort of oppression on any sort of people. I was actually reading a Facebook post that is kind of tied to this, where a person was like, you know, I've met quite a few Juggalos and they're really nice people, and then you know, some guy on there like, oh, well, you must be a fucking scumbag too if you were okay being in their presence or some shit. And another person jumped in talking about how they liked the idea of the Juggalo culture because we were super accepting of people that were bullied and, you know, just in generally kind of shitted on. And that's where Juggalos came from. Like, society created Juggalos. It wasn't, you know, ICP coined the fucking term and figured out a way to pool them all together, but society created us, you know? And that's why you get a lot of the, you know, tracks, fuck the world, and, rebel flag and, you know, Confederate flag and shit like that, where it's just, you know, fuck you, fuck all this shit, we don't give a fuck. Being a Juggalo for me, and thinking about the current political climate, you know, I'm not a fan of Trump. I would like him to do some good things. The fact that he cut a bunch of regulations and shit, like, right off the bat, that irked me pretty hard. I'm a very strong believer in global warming and, you know, stuff like that. And for him to just fucking willy-nilly, you know, shoot a bunch of shit out, to me is fucked. You know, and then the ban, the fucking travel ban, that was stupid too. Just like his fucking wall comment. These are all fucking asinine comments that he believes he's gonna do, but he's not. I mean, let's face it, the Republicans could have a walk in the fucking park right now. You run the Senate, you run the Congress, and you have the president. There's no fucking reason that there shouldn't be bills flying out left and right just fucking shit up. And even the Republicans can't get behind him, you know. As for, you know, his racist stuff towards Mexicans, I don't even know how to explain it. The dude's a fucking moron. Do we really expect anything from a motherfucker that's had a fucking gold spoon in his mouth since the fucking second his head popped out of a fucking pussy? You know, like, that. It's not, you know, dumbasses are gonna be dumbasses, and it's easy to get dumbasses to do dumbass things. You know, and I firmly believe in, you know, the presidency is just a puppet, and there's a lot more inner workings, and, you know, the stuff that he's trying to do is stuff that he's saying he wants to do. When reality, he wants to throw out crazy high achievement goals, so when he fucking undershoots them, everybody was like, well, you know, he might have done this, but at least he didn't build this wall. You know, he might have done this, but at least he didn't, you know, go through with the travel ban and shit like that. I've been super into politics for probably the last 10, 15 years. A lot of it started from, honestly, being into conspiracy theories and listening to a lot of that stuff. My bad. And that's kind of what got me into it. Then a few years down the line, I completely pulled out of pretty much all conspiracy theories. It caused extreme paranoia. And, you know, anytime I run into people that try to start talking about conspiracy theories, I'm like, stop. You know, because, I mean, aliens, fucking, all of that shit, everything. If there was a fucking documentary, conspiracy theory, I fucking watch that shit. You know, I love to take in information. And, you know, to hear, oh, you know, juggalos are so stupid and blah, 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 blah. I am a high school dropout. I don't have my GED. You know, whatever, not relevant. You know, I work, I'm married, got a house, cars, you know, wife works. We're normal fucking people. You know, I just don't have a piece of paper that's tells everybody, hey, this motherfucker was able to do this asinine bullshit. There's a long story. My mom got sick. They had to do emergency tracheotomy. She was in a medical coma for a couple months. So I dropped out of school to get a job. And after that, life was hectic and just couldn't find the time to do GED stuff. And I hear it from everybody, oh, you know, you need to do this, you need to do this. But I don't care. I've been living fine without it, and I'll continue to keep living fine without it. Or you can just tell me to go fuck myself if you want. Also a totally valid response. I'm not going to tell you to fuck yourself, man. You know, a lot of juggalos probably would. Only because they don't, a lot of them don't want to think about this stuff, don't want to talk about it, you know, they don't really have an opinion on it because they don't pay attention to it. So they, you know, you could bring up social issues to a group of juggalos, and I'm pretty sure a good majority of them are gonna be like, no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But I want to open communication with outside sources, you know, especially when it comes to juggalos, to fix exactly why juggalos are juggalos, and why, and not why, but, and how we could possibly break down this invisible barrier between us and the general population that just want to, you know, fucking knock us for liking shitty music. You know, it's crazy. If you go and like read through comments on all these news stories and stuff, you see so much shit about oh, you know, juggalos versus Nazis. Hopefully they just wipe each other out. Like, okay, cool. So you're cool with me getting killed for having a music preference, and you don't see how ironic that is, that, you know, you want us to go against the fucking, go against Nazis and the Klan and shit? Like, that, to me, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any fucking sense. How could people hate and want death on somebody just for listening to music, you know? I'm sure any of these motherfuckers could name a band, and there'll be a huge fucking group of people that aren't even fucking juggalos that would be like, oh, that's fucking garbage, that's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. That shit's stupid as fuck. But for some reason, juggalos are the only motherfuckers that get that shit of, oh, your music's shitty, hope you die. It's fucked up. The whole situation's completely fucked up. Now, onto this tweet. First off, this dude's a fucking troll. If you go and look back on his Twitter feed, there is probably 8 to 10 Juggalo-related gibber shit that doesn't make sense to any fucking Juggalo. He used Juggalo fucking pop words, whoop whoop, Juggalo ninja, blah 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 blah. And then once you get past that, you start seeing posts of him trolling other fucking groups of people. That dude's not a Juggalo. That for me is a huge insult, because that is only giving, you know, I don't even want to say opposing sides, because we're not there for Black Lives Matter. We're not there for fucking the More rally. We're there for us. And that puts a target on us for the side that's going to believe, oh, well, these motherfuckers came ready to battle. Let's go fucking call them on their shit. Which I don't want to see happen. I don't want to see happen. I don't want to see any fucking juggalos get fucked up. Not for being there, for the reason that we're there. You know, now if we had set up a fucking juggalo thing to, you know, counter-protest them, then I would be all fucking for it. All for it. Go ahead, because if that was the situation, the tweet that I showed you would be real shit. Straight the fuck up. It would be real shit. You know, and I'm not claiming that juggalos are some big badass group or nothing, but, you know, I mean, I don't want nobody to get hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt on any side. I don't believe that it needs to come to that. You know, I shame both sides for the shit that happened in Charlottesville. You know, there is no footage of the very first contact. There's no proof of which side struck out first, which side should be in the wrong. You know, a bunch of people say, oh, well, you know, the fucking anti-FA people maced the Nazis or whatever. God, man, I really want to get away from that fucking word. I don't want to pool all Trump supporters together as being KKK or fucking Nazis. I will say that, you know, besides the one that are openly those things, I don't believe all of Trump's crowds are Nazi nor Klansman sympathizers or supporters. Is there a chunk of them? I'm sure. Is there a non-vocal chunk? I'm very sure. But we're buzzwords. What's happening is buzzwords. And for me, that's not okay, because I know what their plan, or what their fucking idiocracy fucking bullshit that they believe in. I get it. I don't support it. I don't support anybody getting killed. But we're in America, and they're allowed to voice whatever the fuck they want. Voice it all you want, but the second you start hurting people, don't be surprised when motherfuckers bust your head open. You know, it's very unfortunate that that girl was ran over. But you knew the situation going into it, and you're facing a group that is technically considered domestic terrorists, you know, especially with, you know, like neo-Nazis and the Klan. We're not on that big boy list of, you know, fucking, you know, American terrorists, or, you know, domestic terrorists, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. You know, we're on the little guy list. We're just a gang, you know. I'm not trying to get into all that shit. You know, like I said, I'm planning on going to the march. You know, I'll be busting ass. All the funds, you know, we spent a big chunk of money going to the gathering. And, so, you know, I'm going to struggle to make the funds. But, you know, I'm going to go there, and my whole plan is to get it on video, and whatever I can do to keep that situation cool and level-headed. Because we'll be the ones that go down. You know, we'll be the ones that will get fucking completely fucking shitstorm media bullshit coverage. And instead of only 4 states recognizing the gang label, it will be a lot more. And I really just hope that juggalos can contain themselves. You know, bite your fucking tongues. Just drop your head and fucking walk away. Walk away. Because starting that is not going to end good. For our side, definitely. For their side, possibly. You know, especially if they come prepared. And if you go to juggalomarch.com, you'll see that they have a huge list of things that they're like, don't do none of this shit, because we, you know, we're already labeled a gang, a violent gang. And to get violent when we're trying to be peaceful is gonna shit that fucking image, you know, tenfold into how big of a deal it will be. So, to the dude that fucking posted this, it was awesome. You know, I'll, if you have any other questions, you know, let's try not to put them all together like this. Let's have a discussion, man. I'm more than willing to talk to anybody that is, you know, looking at this and interested in this, and, you know, getting their thoughts. You know, we're all fucking humans. Some of us believe in some stupid-ass shit. Some of us listen to some stupid-ass shit. Some of us watch stupid-ass shit. You know, I mean, hobby time is hobby time for everybody, and your hobby's nerdy to somebody, you know? That's really all I can say. I'm Mr. Mac and Hose. Peace the fuck out, y'all. Whoop, whoop.